everyone, and welcome back to the Curious Cube. We hope you enjoyed our last episode.
Let's get into the main topic of this episode, which will be about our own math communities and how we're contributing back to them. So I guess we can start with our the math communities that we remember when we first started, because I think that definitely has a huge role in like where we are today. So what did you guys' math communities look like when you were younger?
Yeah, so we had like in elementary school, we had like this math club, and it was also sort of like the math counts club. And like when I joined in like sixth grade, it's like the youngest grade you can do math counts. There's actually like no coach, so like I convinced my dad to be the coach, but it's honestly like kind of wholesome. Seems like very nice bonding experience. And I think like math counts is like it's like a team competition since like beforehand I had like done the AMCs, which is like more individual based, and that like really helps you like improve on your own. But like I think the team competition aspect was also like pretty interesting since it sort of like forces you to like work together and like you also have to like share your ideas with other people, which like I really struggled with at first because I was like pretty quiet and like I didn't want to say anything. But like slowly I was able to like sort of like break out of that and like just be more comfortable like speaking up and like sort of collaborating on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just to like specify, like real quick, math counts is like a middle school like math competition with like individual and team rounds for sixth through eighth graders, and there's like chapter like which chapter like level, which is like regions within a state and the state level, and then four kids from each state go to the national level, and then like the AMCs, the American Mathematics Competitions, are the MAA's main um math contest for like pre-college students. So there's like the AMC 8, 10, and 12, which are for students in like eighth grade and below, 10th and below, and also 12th and below. So
yeah, I definitely relate to Lauren that like math counts was kind of my first real introduction to the math community. And for me, I'd say like the reason it really caught on was because it had a lot of things that it was kind of like a progression of goals that I could keep like achieving. And each goal felt just like barely out of reach. So it was like, as Isaac said, there are like many levels. There's like chapter, then state, then nationals. So like it's it's really easy to find some motivation, like no matter where you are in the process, because you always have something left to do. There will always be some problems that you can't solve. So it's like it's really motivating to just keep working at it and to eventually reach your goals. And I think making the national competition was actually really eye opening for me as well because I got to see the broader community rather than just a community in my own state for the first time, and that really motivated me to go even further in high school.
Yeah, I definitely relate to that. So like in eighth grade we had this like in like the chapter level, we had like this big rivalry with like a local private school. So like for the entire year, we were like, oh, we really want to like win since like we hadn't like the previous teams in my school hadn't won in like a while. So we were like working really hard like every single week, and we all like really like shared this goal. And it was just like it's just like really nice to like have other people that like share your passion for math that also want to like improve, and you sort of like that mutually like pushing each other to like succeed, but also like you understand that like it's okay if like you mess up sometimes. It's like math is hard and like everybody makes mistakes. So it's sort of those like just like having that community to like fall back on, but also to like lift you up. I think that's like a really like great part about math that I gave through like participating in middle school like team competitions.
yeah, I would say like I had a slightly different introduction to contest math than you. So I started like in 2020, and like so I think everyone knows that was like the COVID like quarantine like peak era. So I started on like online communities, specifically like the Art of Problem Solving forums. That's like a company, I guess, that has a website with like great math problem solving resources, like books, classes, but also just like a pretty like basic forum board. And that's where I started just like stumbling across like contest problems while I was just like studying math in school. And I think like I slowly migrated to like the forums, like learned what like math counts was and the AMCs, which you two definitely like experienced a lot in middle school. And like I guess I started meeting people when I like messaged like other like middle schoolers and was like, hey, do you guys want to take um this like random like online math contest together? And these would just be like one day things on the weekends. They were low stakes, but I just remember like the pure excitement of like being like a beginner and trying like my best to solve these problems, and even if I didn't get them in contest, just thinking about them after and just like giddily like discussing like how we did with each other. So yeah, I'd say you can also find other people through like online math communities, like the Art of Problem Solving website. Um, yeah, so I guess I eventually migrated to like the AMCs and math counts, like you guys. Although my eighth grade year, everything was online, so I didn't get to like do like a math counts countdown around or anything. Um, but it was still fun.
Yeah, I definitely relate to like team competitions being like really great bonding experiences. Like, there were a few people I knew through math counts and other things, and like Isaac, I kind of just found these like sort of like less well-known contests just to do for fun. Like some examples are OMO, which was the online math Olympiad. I think it's discontinued now, unfortunately, and Purple Comet, which is another contest, team contest that you can do, and that one's still running. But these contests really give you a way to like they're definitely harder than math counts, and some of them are like much harder. They might involve math that you don't know, but the whole point is that you're struggling through it with other people, and so you develop these great relationships, and you also get exposed to a lot of math at a very early stage, and that's really motivating.
Yeah, I think another great thing about like team contests is that like there's a lot of like team competitions you can do, but I think they also really help you like help prepare you for like individual competitions. So just like speaking from my own experience, like I think like participating in team competitions, it like sort of gives you like more confidence and like you realize that like you can tackle like harder problems with a little bit of help from your teammates or from coaches. And so like I know at least for me, like after participating in math counts, I was like a lot more motivated to like do math like in my own free time. So I'd like do math in my own free time and like sort of challenge myself to do problems that I didn't think I could do. And that like really helped like motivate me to like do well in like the AMCs and sort of just like try to like strive for individual improvement as well.
Yeah, like the bit like Srinivas talked about earlier, where like you like set goals which are like barely like out of reach, where you think like, if I work for like over the summer and maybe like there's like a 50% chance I'll make it, there's a 50% chance I won't make it, or it doesn't have to be like that exact, but just that like I guess like philosophy of like I want to keep pushing or something that's like a little like ahead of me, and if you just like continually do that, you'll end up like you'll look back and like think like wow, like I worked really hard and I got a lot better at problem solving. And I guess like all of us can attest to that. Like along this journey, you'll meet a lot of other people who are great. Like I met Laura and Srinivas just I think like indirectly through going to MOP, I guess. So yeah.
I think more generally, like the biggest thing you can learn from these contests, like both Laura and Isaac were saying, is just like the courage to like attempt difficult problems and the courage to like keep pushing, even when you're not sure whether you'll make it or you'll accomplish something. And that courage is really the most important thing that you'll carry throughout high school as well, and probably later than that too, because if you can approach challenges like and not lose faith in yourself, then there's kind of nothing you can't achieve.
Yeah, so speaking about math communities, I think like all three of us, as we like got further into the contest math community and got older, we started looking for ways to give back to the both our local math communities and also just like the wider math competition community. So would either of you two want to start by like saying some of the things you've been involved in recently, or just I guess like in high school and maybe even earlier than that?
So I guess one big thing is teaching. So this is probably what you think about when you think about giving back to the community. It's just directly sharing the knowledge that you've gained over the past few years with others. And I really like teaching for a number of reasons. So first of all, just like solving problems, it's kind of something you can get better at over time just by continuing to do it. Like you can actually get better at explaining concepts to people, which in general I think is just a good skill to have. Uh, and also it's kind of symbolic for me in a way because I remember like people who taught me, like my coaches or like teachers at school, and I remember how they helped me grow and improve. And it kind of feels like now I'm filling in their role for myself.
Yeah, I think like along with teaching, I think for me like a big part has been like finding like trying to find like more fun and creative ways to like promote a love for math. So I captain my school's varsity math team. I don't know why it's called varsity. We're just like a math club essentially. But like we just do like a lot of really goofy random things since we all just really like math. So stuff like playing countdown round. So essentially like you do a countdown round, like you try to solve problems in your head, but you're like in a plank position. or we do like something called like function guessing. So, like you get like a bunch of different like coordinates, and you're supposed to like guess which function like fits those coordinates. And just like finding all these like little fun ways to like make math a little more exciting, make math like more collaborative. I think it just makes everybody super happy. So yeah, I love
Yeah,
us
yeah.
math club.
Plank countdown, I guess like wait, this is just like where like two people are planking and like someone reads a question and like whoever like says the
Yeah,
answer first is
Mhm.
okay, yeah. I think I've tried that before with a couple like other friends who did math contests. It's you get tired pretty quick, but it's fun.
so true.
Yeah. I guess like uh I tried like teaching in a sense I guess like a few years ago where a few like friends who I met through the math contest community like ran like a summer camp for AMC prep, and like I taught a few classes there, and I guess like Srinivas said, I did learn a lot even just in like those 5 to 10 hours about what's like tools of like how to like teach more effectively and communicate more clearly. And I'm sure like if I spent more time like Srinivas just teaching regularly, my skills would be like exponentially better. But I decided to spend more time on contest organization. So when a lot of people like take math counts or the AMCs, they don't really think about like who sets up like the contest problems and like distributes all the materials and results and all that. So I guess like on a high level, to run a contest, you need uh like creative efforts where people are writing original math problems. Because that's why like contests are fun, right? The problems are original, interesting, creative, like unexpected, and just like flat out beautiful. So I like spent a good amount of time just writing problems for one of my friends like own math contest organization group. And like I guess like along with that, there's like obviously like outreach work that needs to be done and like um I guess you could call it like finance work where you're like securing sponsors or and like outreach is just like advertising your contest, maybe like online or like you can ask friends like I might like ask like Laura to like advertise like such and such contest to like your varsity math team and all that. So I spent a lot of time doing that instead of teaching. And I guess problem writing maybe you two can talk about this as well, but problem writing is like very fun because it's sort of like solving a problem where you have to like rely on your own ideas to come up with something that like works, right? Because uh I guess like if you wanted to like auto generate a problem just like without like much creative thought, it wouldn't be very interesting. Like I could just say like solve like 53 cubed times 197 or calculate that and it wouldn't be very interesting. But if you like rely on your past experience with like solving contest problems and maybe like packaging one idea and like molding it somewhere some in another way to create like an original contest problem, that's like very rewarding and it's a skill that you can work on over time.
Yeah, problem writing, for me at least, has also been really fun. Like my feeling is that if problem solving is like one level of creativity, which is still like really high, then creating problems is like the next level because it's like you have even more freedom than when you're solving a problem. Because this time you can actually ask the problem and then solve it yourself. So you can kind of just like do whatever makes you curious and you can like try to investigate whatever structure you come up with. So there's like a lot of freedom involved that it's surprisingly accessible as well. Like even like you can make problems that are much much harder than maybe even you could solve because like when you're making the problem you have a bunch of tools available to you that you don't when you're solving it. So I definitely think you should try problem writing if you haven't. It's a really fulfilling activity.
Yeah. I remember like at first I was like low-key kind of scared of like writing problems because like I don't know, just like you just like get to start from nothing and you sort of like create like this problem that other people can solve. And like I've written problems for like middle school contests that my school's math team hosts, but then I've also written like problems for like the high school members of my school's math team. So like it's like this is like the difference in like skill level that you have to like think about. It's like it's like pretty interesting since like for the middle school competition, we're not allowed to have like geometry problems, for example, because like students haven't taken geometry yet. And so you have to like try to like find like creative ways to make like more simple concepts like interesting. And I think like just thinking about like deeply about like these concepts that I haven't like really thought that deeply about for so long since they sort of become like I just needed more experience with them. And I think it's like sort of like builds my own appreciation for like these more simple topics and really like just makes me like, I don't know, happier about like the math I do nowadays. So just like very
Yeah, also like if you want like some advice on problem writing, the previous Curious Cube host actually made an episode on that. I believe in season 2. So if you like go on the MAA YouTube channel and just like there's definitely like a playlist of like the Curious Cube season 2. Um and yeah, it'll be there. And I definitely listened to that when it came out, and I'd say it was pretty helpful. So if you want some advice to start off with, I'd say go there.
I also want to talk a bit more about what Laura was saying earlier, which is like clubs, like either through your school or outside of school. I just think like clubs are a really great way of being exposed to the math community because like contests are great, but they aren't like regular. So you just might have like some like one contest this month and then another contest in another 2 months. So it's not really like a regular meeting. But if you can find like a local club or you can start a local club, then you can kind of meet the math community in your area like very regularly and you can solve problems with them and help each other get better. So I definitely think that's a really big way of contributing back to the community. And yeah.
yeah, I mentioned this like briefly like at the beginning, but I'm actually like at my school right now for like one of our math team like practices. So essentially we have like lectures, which are when like different students will like introduce like topics they're interested in. And it's like a great way to become like exposed to topics that you hadn't really studied before. And then we also have like just like normal practice, but the practices are like really fun since like after like every time like after like every set of problems we do, we all like collaborate and like people like go on the board and they explain how they do it. And everybody's like, oh, so that's how you do the problem. It's just like a great way to like share knowledge with others. It's also just like super wholesome to be like surrounded by like a bunch of friends that like love math just as much as you do and who are like doing it like at the same time with you. Just like a very motivating experience.
Yeah, I'd like to second like the importance and like value of in-person communities. So my school doesn't have like as strong as a math community as like Laura's. So I guess like there's like two main like in-person communities that I've like experienced that are like local. So like the first is like the math team I'm part of. It's held at Lehigh University, which is like, and it's sort of like a regional math team where it's not just like people from like a school or like a town, but it's like I'd say like the average drive to go to Lehigh University is like an hour plus. So like it's sort of like a hodgepodge of like people from like East Pennsylvania and like Northern Jersey. But yeah, we have like weekend practices throughout the year. Especially right now. I actually have a practice this Sunday. Um, so yeah, we like have a um pretty broad like regimen of like math that we go through. So we have like proof rounds, which are like I guess like higher level questions where you have to like connect the dots and write proofs for like various aspects of like a concept. And there's also just like more traditional like team rounds where just like, oh, here's 10 questions. You have like 20 minutes. They all have like numerical answers, like split up the work and go. Or it's sort of like that more like a run and gun type math contest round, like maybe sort of like a math counts team round. And they're both very fun. I've learned a lot from the people that I've met at Lehigh. Um, you know, like discussing math at the contest at the practices and the contests we go to is pretty enlightening. And then also just like outside of practices, a lot of us just like talk online because we do live like further away just about math. Like some people even play like video games together. And yeah, I think it's great to have in-person communities like that.
I
And I
think
guess
it
like the other you can go. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, I definitely think that you learn more from your peers than anyone else, just because you're kind of growing with them throughout your journey. So it's definitely great to like meet up with them, especially in person whenever you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I've like done math with like some of the people like on my schools because we're all like in the same area. So I've like known some of these people since like second grade or something. And just like being able to like grow up with them in like the last 10 years and like growing up like not only as just like mathematicians, but also like as friends and like seeing us like sort of like break out of our shells and like go from like not really like knowing that much about math, but like nowadays like leading our school's math team. It's just like such a great experience and you sort of like realize just how much you've gained and learned throughout like this entire journey of math.
yeah, seeing like your friends mature, like both in terms of like getting better at like math and just like solving problems, but also like leadership skills and like being like able to put themselves out there is really cool. I guess like recently, one of my friends who like heads like the contest organization like group that like I'm a part of, we held like an in-person event at Rutgers University in New Jersey, and it was called the Rutgers Expedition in Problem Solving, or REPS. Um, and like I guess like the main purpose of it was to like have like middle schoolers come out, and we'd like had like a series of like talks and activities such as like a mini math contest or like an estimathon, which is like where you use like I guess like logical reasoning skills to like estimate the value of something, such as um maybe like how many three pointers did like this like NBA team make across like their 82 game season or something like that. And like yeah, it was really fun to like see like younger students just like come in like wide-eyed and like maybe like a little confused, and like they weren't like as confident in themselves as like I guess like some of like the organizers were, like just because of like the age difference, and maybe they hadn't found like such like a solid math community yet. And yeah, I'd say like I saw like a lot of like my own like doubts when I was like younger, and like desires and like wishes as they did. So it was kind of cool. There's like this one kid who like came up to me and started just like asking like what I wish I knew in middle school, and like how to like meet more people in the math contest community. And it's kind of cool because like I was able to connect him to someone like a friend I know who is like pretty involved in math contests at the high school he's going to next year. So I'd say like yeah, in-person communities, meeting like the younger generation and just like organizing events is great and really fulfilling. So one of our other Curious Cube hosts, Emily, traveled to the Harvard MIT Math Tournament, or HMMT, in February, and she asked various contestants and like parents and other like coaches and organizers a few questions about in-person math events. So Emily, please take it away.
I went to HMMT this February, and I was able to meet so many people there. I think in-person math events are great because you're able to meet so many other people in the math community who share the same passion for math. I also think being on a team is a very valuable experience because it's a lot of fun and it feels pretty different than doing math alone. Let's meet some other people who also came to HMMT. These are some people I met at HMMT.
So my name is Advait Avatanam and I'm a senior.
Hi, I'm Alex Chow. I'm a senior. I'm from Seattle.
Hi, I'm Srinivas and I'm a senior.
I'm Vivian and I'm in 12th grade.
I'm Ritwin and I'm a junior.
Hey, my name is Shai Liu. I'm in 10th grade right now.
I'm Kevin Long and I'm in 7th grade.
I'm Alexander Wang and I'm currently in 10th grade.
My name is Hannah and I'm in 11th grade.
I'm Evan. I'm like a 5th year PhD student now. So
my name's Jacob Chung and I'm in 11th grade.
I'm Ningyu and I'm in 10th grade.
I'm Rohan. I'm a sophomore.
Hello viewers, I'm Neil and I'm currently a senior.
Hi, I'm Poshendo and I think I'm in grade 36.
John and I'm a 9th grader.
My name is Isaac and I am a junior in high school, so 11th grade.
My name is Catherine and I'm a sophomore.
My name is Mason Eiler and I'm a senior.
What is something interesting about yourself?
At MOP, I was the terror of the ping pong table.
I like singing.
The point where I played competitive Hanabi was kind of an obsession of mine.
I'm actually a huge Patriots fan for football.
I like red pandas a lot, so my Discord profile picture is a red panda, and I have this cute plushie.
I run track, specifically distance.
Outside of math, I spend a lot of time playing and watching basketball, so it's probably like my second favorite thing.
What is your favorite math subject, and why do you like it?
My favorite subject is combinatorics because you can play around with the different parameters of the problem to like get a feel of what's happening and like use that to like motivate your solution.
Combinatorics, also one of the easiest subjects to explain to people who don't do competitive math, because you can give them any, for example, game theory problem. One of my favorites was 2023 GMO4, which I showed to some of my school friends who do not do competitive math, but they still had fun with it.
Combo, I like it because like a lot of times you don't need to know a lot to do the problems. It's just like purely like what ideas you can think of.
I like algebra because I like writing out the equations.
Definitely like number theory the most. I think it had like the most like connections to higher math.
Number theory, even though it's about like basic numbers and like primes, but it's also a really interesting subject, and there's a lot of challenging problems in it.
I like geometry because it has a lot of cool theorems.
Geo because I just like drawing with my ruler and compass. I find it like very relaxing.
Analysis because it's very intuitive but hard to pin down.
What's your favorite part about in-person math events?
Sometimes you meet the most random people that you've never met before, and you become like friends in a day.
Because I correlate in-person events with team events. Usually in-person have some team round, and I really like working with other people.
Mostly like meeting people that I only talk to online, and like now I like meeting them in person for the first time.
It's like a big psychological effect on me. Like seeing my friends like grind math was like really inspiring. So yeah.
To interact with like all of my friends and like outside of the school, right? And then like I get to, you know, do math with them and like, you know, do team and stuff, and it's really interesting.
Feeling like the enthusiasm everyone has for math. Like at a contest, after like a round ends, people will be just discussing problems. They'll be like celebrating if they solved it and just explaining different solutions. So just really cool.
Definitely getting to meet people from other regions, kind of just like getting to hang out, getting to meet people I've met from like other kind of in-person math programs, and like getting to like reunite with people. And that's just like really cool.
I happen to like math, yes, but I think what I like much more is people, interacting with people, and when they're in person, it's far more interesting.
Getting to like actually meet all these people, and they're like really amazing people. And I also really like just like enjoying the high quality problems.
Is getting to meet all the interesting people and making connections for the future.
Through like AOPS and Discord and things like that, you make a lot of friends by doing like maths over those platforms, and I find it like I really love it when I get to meet those people like in person.
I like getting to see other math people in person.
Being my friends, they like inspire me to like work the rest of the year when I can't see them, and just like seeing people who are similar to me is kind of nice because there aren't very many people who do math in my own city.
Generally, the experience of traveling and hanging out with my team and bonding and doing team rounds is like quite a bit of fun. They're good memories that I'll take to college and beyond.
Next, we have another one of our hosts, Ben, who's going to be talking about an interesting math concept.
Hi everyone. In today's segment, I'm going to be talking about one of the most counterintuitive and also one of the coolest ideas I know of in math. And this is the idea that there are actually different infinities. So to explain this, probably I should first explain what it means for two infinities to be the same. So two infinities that are the same are the set of positive integers and the set of even positive integers. So positive integers, these are, I'm sure you're well familiar with them, numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going on forever. And then even positive integers, that's the same as the positive integers, except we only take the even ones. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, again going on forever. So every even positive integer is a positive integer. So this might lead you to think that the set of positive integers is going to be bigger than the set of even positive integers. But actually, this is not true, because what we can do is we can pair them up. So we can pair 1 with 2, 2 with 4, 3 with 6, 4 with 8, 5 with 10, and we can keep on doing this pairing forever. And this is what it means for two infinities to be the same. It means we can pair them up, and each element of our first set will be paired up with an element of our second set, and vice versa. So now for a harder example, I'm going to talk about fractions. So again, we've got the positive integers, and this time I'm going to be comparing the number of positive integers to the number of fractions. So numbers like 1/3, 4/7, 999 over 502, and 12 over 13. So you might think that there's going to be a lot more fractions than positive integers, because every fraction you have to pick a numerator and a denominator, and each of those can be positive integers. So you've got to pick two positive integers to make a fraction. So I've made a little diagram to show how you can organize the fractions. So on the top row here, I've got numbers 1 through 4, and also going on forever. And on the left, I've got the positive integers going on forever. And in each cell, I'm going to write a fraction that is this numerator over this denominator. So for example, in this cell, it's got a numerator of 3 and a denominator of 2, so I'll write the fraction 3/2. In this cell, we've got a numerator of 1 and a denominator of 4, so I'll write the fraction 1/4. So actually, every fraction will have a spot on this grid. On this grid right now, you can only see a few of the fractions, but every fraction, even crazy ones like 999 over 502, are going to end up on this grid. 999 over 502, though, would be very far off here. You'd have to go 99 to the right and 502 down. But nevertheless, if this grid was made infinite, every fraction would appear on here. And what this means is that the number of fractions is at most the number of cells in this grid right here. And now what we're going to do is we're going to find another way to count the size of this grid. And what we're going to do is we're going to pair up the squares of this grid with the positive integers. And how we're going to do that is with this snaking trail. So we're going to start at the top left corner. We're going to go right, then diagonal, then down, then diagonal, right, diagonal, down, diagonal. And the snaking path will continue, and it will fill up the entire grid. And then how we're going to pair up positive integers with cells on this grid is we're going to write a 1 at the start of the snake. So I'll put a 1 right here, and then a 2 on the next spot on the snake, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you can see how this continues. We'll be able to put the positive integers in a snaking pattern around the grid, and if you continue this process forever, actually all the positive integers will pair up with all the cells on this grid. And so what this means is that we actually have found a way to pair up every positive integer with a fraction. So if I want to figure out what fraction corresponds to this 10 right here, I just go back to our grid on the previous slide, and it's going to be 1/4. And if I want to see what 8 is paired up with, just go back to our slide, and it's going to be this 3/2 right here. So this allows us to pair up all the positive integers with fractions. And this proves that the number of fractions, aka the number of rational numbers, is actually the same as the number of positive integers. And so now you might think that all infinities are going to be the same, because the fractions sure seem a lot bigger than positive integers, but they turn out to be the same. Although it's actually not true that all infinities are the same. And the infinity that's bigger than the positive integers is going to be the number of real numbers. So I've written out some examples of real numbers, numbers like 7/3, square root of 2, pi, -4. You get the idea. And to make this argument a little bit simpler, instead of considering all real numbers, I'm just going to consider real numbers between 0 and 1. And I wrote out some examples of real numbers between 0 and 1. And actually the claim is that the number of real numbers between 0 and 1 is actually going to be more than the total number of positive integers. Even in the thin strip of the number line between 0 and 1, you've got more real numbers than positive integers on the whole number line. And how we're going to do this is we're going to use an idea called proof by contradiction. So we're going to assume that we've found a pairing of the positive integers and the real numbers, and then we're going to show that there's a real number that was not on that list. So actually, it's going to be impossible to pair up the positive integers and the real numbers. So I'll start out by writing the positive integers, 1 through 6, and then I'll write some real numbers to pair up with this. Maybe 1 will pair up with this 0.7319421 number, and then 2 will pair up with that, and then 3 with that, 4 with that, 5 with that, 6 with that, and so on forever. Okay, so we're going to have a bunch of different real numbers here. And then the next idea is something called diagonalization. Once we have this list, I'm going to go ahead and circle the first digit after the decimal point on the first number. So it's going to be right there. And then the second digit after the decimal point on the second number. So it's going to be that 1. And then third digit on the third number, it's going to be that 3. The fourth digit on the fourth number, it's going to be the 6. Fifth digit on the fifth number is going to be this 5, and then sixth digit on the sixth number is going to be this 0. And we can again continue this forever. So using this, we will have circled a bunch of digits on this. But where's the contradiction? I don't see what's happening here. Well, it turns out we are actually now able to use this diagonalization to construct a real number, x, that's between 0 and 1. So it should start with 0 point. And it's going to be different than any of the real numbers on our infinite list. And how we're going to do this is we're going to build x digit by digit. For the first digit, I'm going to make it anything different than the 7. Maybe I'll make it 1 less than 7. So it'd be a 6. And now, no matter what the rest of the digits of x are, it's going to be different than the first number because they're different in the first decimal place. And now if I add the next digit of x, there's a 1 right here, so I'll make it anything other than a 1, maybe 1 less than a 1. It's a 0. Now, no matter what the rest of x is, it's going to be different than our second number because they're different in the second decimal place. And we can repeat this. Our third digit of x should be different than the third digit of our third number, this circled 3. So maybe I'll do 1 less than 3, it'll be 2. And we repeat this, the fourth digit of x will be different than the fourth digit of this fourth number, so 1 less than 6, maybe 5. And then the fifth digit of x should be different than this 5, I'll say 4. And then the sixth digit of x should be different than the sixth digit of our sixth number, that's 0. And so maybe we could choose 9, 9 is different than 0, and we can continue this on forever. And so doing this, we will get a number x that's going to be different than every number on our list. It's going to be different in the first number in the first digit, and it's going to be different from the 1,000,000th number because x and the 1,000,000th number are going to have a different 1,000,000th digit. So this number x that we constructed is actually going to be not on the list. So no matter how you construct a list of pairing up the positive integers and real numbers, there's going to be a number x that's not on there. And what this means is it's actually going to be impossible to make a list, which means we've now found two different infinities. The size of the positive integers is going to be different than the size of the real numbers. And the idea we use to prove this diagonalization idea, and proof by contradiction, is actually a very general idea. This same argument we just saw can be generalized a little bit to prove something called Cantor's theorem. What Cantor's theorem allows you to do is it allows you to take any set and make a bigger set by taking what's known as the power set of it. And how that matters for us is we took the set of positive integers and we used the idea behind Cantor's theorem to make a bigger set, the set of real numbers. But we can actually continue this. You can take the power set of the set of real numbers and you'll get an even bigger infinity. And then if you take the power set of that, you get an even bigger infinity. And you can repeat this, and you'll actually get an infinite number of different infinities. In addition to Cantor's theorem, there's a bunch of other applications of this diagonalization idea. Two that I think are particularly cool are the halting problem and Gödel's theorem, and they're also closely related. Halting problem is a problem in computer science that you can prove that computers can't solve. So no matter what kind of program you write, it cannot solve the halting problem. So there are problems that computers can't solve. And Gödel's theorem, on the other hand, is the same idea in math. It's saying that there are some true mathematical theorems that no matter how hard you try, you cannot prove them. And actually, I think the halting problem and Gödel's theorem are so cool that I am going to take a look at them in my next segment. So stay tuned for the next segment where we're going to prove the halting problem and generalize that to prove Gödel's theorem. And until then, happy mathing. Bye.
We hope everyone enjoyed today's episode and that you keep searching for and building your own math communities.
Also, feel free to submit viewer-submitted questions for us at the link in the description. We're always happy to answer your questions.
See you guys next time.